Today's video is about solving absolute value inequalities, and our goal on each of these problems is to get the absolute value symbols alone. So in this particular problem, we have that situation. Absolute value of x equals 12. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get two equations. I'm just going to write this down because this is how we're going to approach these. Set what is inside the absolute value symbols equal to the positive and negative versions of the number and solve. So, for instance, the absolute value of x equals 12. We have absolute value symbols alone, so we're going to say what's inside x is equal to the positive version of the number, which is positive 12, and x is equal to the negative version of the number, which is negative 12. And we're going to put the word or in between them. That's actually your answer in this case. There's nothing more to do to solve. We'll see some in just a minute where you do have to solve. So let's look at this next one. We have 3x plus 7 equals, 3 times the absolute value of x plus 7 equals 24. We need to get the absolute value symbols alone, so we're going to divide everything by 3, because the 3 is multiplying those absolute value symbols. The 3's cancel, and we have x plus 7, absolute value of x plus 7, equals 8. Now, what we do is we take what's inside the absolute value symbols and set it to the positive version of the number and the negative version of the number. So we say x plus 7 equals 8, or x plus 7 equals negative 8. Because remember, the absolute value of negative 8 is 8, absolute value of positive 8 is 8. Remember that. So now we solve each one. Subtract 7 from each side, and we have x equals 1. The other one, subtract 7 from each side. We have x equals negative 15. Put the word or in between them. So either x equals 1 or x equals negative 15 will work. Let's do this one again. Or do another problem. Let's get the absolute value symbols alone. So that means we have to add 8 to each side. So we have 0 is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. Now, normally we say set that equal to the positive and negative version of the number. Well, there is no positive or negative version of 0. It's just plain 0. So we're going to say x plus 2 equals 0. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's subtract 2 from each side, and we end up with x equals negative 2. This one. 3 plus the absolute value of x plus 4 equals 0. We're going to subtract 3 from each side to get the absolute value symbols alone. 3's cancel, and I get the absolute value of x plus 4 equals negative 3. Now we've got a problem here. This is impossible. Do you know why? The reason is you cannot have the absolute value of anything equal to a negative number. Absolute value cannot be negative. So in this case, there's just no solution to it. If that had been a positive 3, certainly we could have done that. We would have set x plus 4 equal to positive 3 and x plus 4 equal to negative 3. But we can't. Absolute value can never be negative. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me.